Hi, welcome to Old Guys Gentlemen Flex Fountain Pens, episode number 88. And today's review will have nothing to do with flex fountain pens. It has a little bit to do with fountain pens in general. What I'm going to be reviewing today is my writing slope box. It's an antique. I got it a couple of years ago. And I'll show you some of the attributes of it and then get into some of the things that I've fixed. This is something that if it's not too beat up, this was sort of beat up, for not too much effort, you can turn it into something that's pretty cool, which I think I've done that with this one. Okay, so some people have referred to these things as the laptop of the 1800s, although it's a heavy one. I just have a few things in here, and it's already at about 10 pounds. It does have a security system. This very sophisticated key that I'm sure is very difficult to reproduce. And the way this thing works, well, first of all, this is from 1890. Got a nice brass plaque on it. The initials are, my wife and I have been debating over this. It's either MKS or MGS or MHS. But that's who owned this. I guess I can talk a little bit about the history. Now, I'm not a history expert on these things, just enough, what I'm about to tell you is about a few hours worth of looking around on the internet over the course of before I bought it and since I bought it. These were the things that people brought with them to write letters, write journals, keep some knickknacks with them. I've also seen pictures of or engravings of people who've used it for reading books on it. I think it was very popular with the ladies for writing on journeys, writing home. It is, even though it's 10 pounds, it's fairly sturdy. You can put a fair amount of stuff in here. So now let's go ahead and open it up. You can see here it's got a triple locking system, which is kind of funny because of the very sophisticated key that works in there. I would think one of these would work, but it's got three. You open it up, and this is the writing slope. It's got compartments for pens and inks. Now, I couldn't find, I bought several different antique bottles, which I thought would work, and none of them worked. So what I did is I found these guys, Tiger Balm. Put the Tiger Balm in a different bottle, clean these out really well, and so now I have some ink bottles that I can use. They had a space for your pen up here, and then they had one secret compartment up here. Just push that down, and now you've got a compartment in here, which I happen to have a pen in. Inside here, there's a couple of clasps down here that you undo. These don't stay really well. Probably overused over a century old piece of hardware. And this is a compartment, I suspect, for a journal or pieces of paper, probably pens, maybe some other inks. I think this might have come with a string that came across here for holding papers and things, and it didn't suit my purpose, so I ended up taking that out. And up here is another compartment, and this is where I keep my 5-year Obonichi and some blotting paper. Not a lot of stuff in here right now, but one of the things I really like And it's another security feature, but it's kind of a weird one because anyone who's ever seen one of these back in the day knows that there is a secret compartment here and a secret compartment behind here. Some of the better ones also have like a drawer on the side here with a pin you pull up and then the drawer can come out. And then there are other more sophisticated, expensive ones that you can get. But with this one, you pull up on this, and this panel comes out. And inside here are these little, and they are little, little drawers. So I guess this would be for change, maybe for money, jewelry. It's funny, I think that this is a modern piece of ribbon on here held by a nail. But if you look at pictures of all the ones that are for sale, they all have these kind of ribbons on there. And then when you're done, sometimes you can just press it in. With mine, you got to kind of lift up and put it in. There. And it puts your hand at a good writing angle, I think. I keep this thing on a moving stand that I use in the living room that I'll pull out in the evening when we're watching TV or reading, and so I can get this out. And do my writing. It supports my everything at a nice angle. It's not to say I couldn't do it flat, but isn't this cooler to do it this way? Okay, so what did I do to it? When I got this thing, this was all covered over with, it was shellac and had like tarnished underneath the shellac. So I basically kind of steel wooled that off so you could see this again. There were lots of scratches on this thing. Nothing that deep, so I didn't have to fill anything. I basically used some Old English to wipe down everything, and it came out pretty good. Inside, these are basically two pieces of wood, and they had a, gosh, I forget the name of it, but there's, they had a pad, a thin pad that gets glued on here. And it might have been the original. It had kind of a green felt kind of look to it. It was cushiony enough that when I wrote on it, especially if I just had a piece of paper on here I was writing on it, it didn't provide enough support for the very fine nibs that I use. So I wanted to get something that looked better. And there's a place, there are a couple different places that do it. If I have time, I'll put a link in the description. But I selected a place in England, and you give them the dimensions of what you want, and they'll send you this piece of leather with a lot of additional leather on the outside, complete with imprints. I think you get to pick that, several different colors, and this. So what you do then is you peel off the old thing, which is a combination of scraping it off, a little bit of sanding, and when you get it all cleaned up, you put down a layer of Elmer's glue. I pre-cut this thing so it's about the same size, and you put it in, I think with a little bit of overhang, and then after it's all dry, you come in and you can trim it up. So I think I did a pretty good job on that. The next thing I did was sometimes my pens are loose, and I don't really like them just banging around, and I thought it would look cool to cover thing in green felt. And this stuff is really easy to do. You can buy this stuff very inexpensively. I think I got some on eBay. It's pre-adhesive on one side, so you just cut it up and put it down. Got to be kind of careful, though. You get these creases. And then up here, I did the same. And then in here, and in particular in here, because this is where I'll typically keep an extra pen, so that it's basically just touching felt if this thing gets moved around. But it doesn't really get moved around that much, so think I mainly did it for the looks. The other thing is when I got this thing, this panel was just missing. And so I had to kind of figure out how to recreate it. And I have a lot of scrap wood in the basement, so I basically cut it so I had a tongue at this end that would fit in here and another kind of semi-tongue that fits over here. And then I knew that this thing came in and out. It basically lifts this up and down. So I need to have something that would catch something here and something that kind of popped this thing out. So this is an old hacksaw blade, and drilled a hole here, and I had some brass sheet and basically kept filing this away and cutting away until I had a perfect latch position on that. I think it matches really well. So now I have this writing blocks that I can do my daily 5-year journal and tuck it away in here. I've got an extra pen here. I got some ink if I'm too lazy to walk 2 rooms down and go to my ink library. And then I can close it up. I never lock it, but theoretically I could lock it. And then it sits on a piece of furniture in the living room and kind of fits in, looks nice, and I'm all ready to go. Now, as simple as just having my my Hobonichi journal just sitting on a table. This is way cooler, I think, and I've had a lot of fun with it. So I hope you got a lot of value of that. Until next time, thanks for watching.
My sweetheart.